Welcome to Mr. English Cafe. Imagine you are at a dinner with friends. Everyone is talking about their perfect jobs, their perfect kids, and their amazing vacations. You feel a heavy weight in your chest because, honestly, you've had a terrible week. You feel like a failure. Do you put on a fake smile and join the perfect conversation? Or do you take a breath and say, "Actually, I'm struggling right now"? Most of us hide. We think weakness drives people away. But here is the truth. Perfection is a wall, while honesty is a bridge. Have you ever felt more alone in a room full of people than when you were by yourself? Let's talk about why. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Joe. I am so happy you're spending these 12 minutes with me today. Today, we are diving into a topic that sounds scary but is actually life-changing: the power of vulnerability. We're going to look at why showing your true, messy self is actually the bravest thing you can do. Before we start, if you find today's episode helpful, please hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really helps our community grow, and I love having you here. Now, when we hear the word vulnerability, we usually think of weakness. We think of losing a fight or being unprotected. But research by Dr. Brené Brown, who has spent years studying this, shows us the exact opposite. She found that vulnerability is the birthplace of love, belonging, and joy. Think about it. Can you truly love someone if you don't show them who you really are? If you only show them a perfect version of yourself, they aren't actually loving you, they are loving a mask. I remember a friend of mine, Sarah. She was a manager at a big company. She thought she had to be tough and perfect for her team to respect her, but her team felt distant and scared. One day, during a very stressful project, she finally admitted to them, "I'm overwhelmed and I don't have all the answers. I need your help. Do you know what happened?" They didn't lose respect for her, they actually worked harder. They felt connected to her because she was human. Brené Brown talks about owning our story. This means looking at our flaws, our mistakes, and our embarrassing moments and saying, "Yes, this is me." When we hide our flaws, we block connection. We become like a house with all the curtains closed. It might look neat from the outside, but it's dark and lonely inside. Courage isn't about having no fear. It's about letting yourself be seen even when you are afraid. I want to share two quotes that really hit home for me. Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Brené Brown. Think about that. Usually, we only want to show up when we know we will win. We only speak if we know people will agree. But true strength is stepping onto the stage of life when you don't know what people will think. That is real bravery. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Rumi. Let's talk about the man behind these words. Rumi was a 13th century Persian poet and teacher. He wasn't just a writer. He was someone who understood the deep pains of the human heart. He believed that our suffering isn't a mistake. When he says the wound, he means your heartbreak, your failures, and your insecurities. We usually try to bandage these wounds and hide them under long sleeves. But Rumi suggests that these cracks in our soul are actually necessary. They are the openings that allow wisdom, empathy, and love to finally get inside us. Without the wound, we stay closed off and cold like a stone. With the wound, we become a vessel for light. So, how do we actually do this? How do we become vulnerable without feeling like we're falling apart? Let's look at 3 deep ways to grow. 1. Start small with micro-honesty. You don't have to tell your deepest secrets to a stranger on the street. That's not vulnerability. That's just risky. Instead, practice being honest in small moments. When a trusted friend asks, "How are you?" stop the "I'm fine" reflex. Try saying, "I'm actually a bit tired today," or "I'm feeling a little anxious about work." These small moments of honesty build a courage muscle that helps you handle bigger things later. 2. Remove the armor of perfection. We often use perfectionism as a shield. We think if we look perfect and act perfect, no one can hurt us. But this armor is heavy and it keeps people away. To grow, you must notice when you are posturing, that is, trying to act more successful or together than you really are. When you feel that urge to impress others, try to be just 5% more real. Admit a small mistake, share a silly worrying. You'll find that when you drop the armor, people can finally get close enough to hug you. 3. Transform your inner dialogue. You cannot be vulnerable with the world if you are a bully to yourself. If your inner voice is always screaming that you are a failure, you will stay hidden because you are afraid of being judged. To improve, you must treat your own heart with the same kindness you give a best friend. If you fail, don't say "I'm an idiot." Say, "This is hard and I'm doing my best." When you are safe with yourself, you will finally feel safe being seen by others. To wrap things up, vulnerability is not a sign of defeat. It is the fuel for courage. When we stop hiding, we start living. We find people who love us for who we are, not for who we pretend to be. Final reminder, you are enough, just as you are. With your messy hair, your unfinished goals, and your sensitive heart. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love and connection. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope this felt like a warm hug for your soul. Before you go, let's practice being a little bit real together. Being vulnerable often means admitting we don't have it all figured out. Tell us in the comments. What is one thing you are currently learning to forgive yourself for? It could be a past mistake, a missed goal, or even just a bad mood you had this morning. Reading your stories helps us all feel less alone. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, like, and share this episode with someone who might need to hear it today. Stay brave, stay kind, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. See you. Thanks for joining us. In this podcast, you've learned the following. Let's read aloud. Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. The wound is the place where the light enters you. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Vulnerability, showing your vulnerability to someone you trust, can actually strengthen your emotional bond. The therapist encouraged him to embrace his vulnerability instead of hiding his true feelings. Opening up about your past failures requires a great amount of vulnerability. Distant. Lately, my brother has been very distant, and he rarely replies to my text messages. She noticed that her partner became emotionally distant after they had a big argument. He gave her a distant smile before turning around and walking away into the crowd. Overwhelmed. I felt completely overwhelmed by the number of emails waiting for me after my vacation. The young mother was overwhelmed with joy when she held her newborn baby for the first time. When you feel overwhelmed by anxiety, try to focus on taking slow, deep breaths. Armor. He uses humor as a form of emotional armor to prevent people from getting too close. It takes time to take down your armor and trust someone again after a painful breakup. She put on her professional armor before entering the difficult business negotiation. Feel free to read it aloud. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave a comment below.